Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well and your day has been success of one kind or another, and always a positive actions brings positive success. Now, I've received a reminder of one of our um, members, let's say, or one of our friends, who reminded me that he's still depressed. This particular segment is not dedicated just to him, although this is regarding his problem. But this problem, this what I'm about to talk to you about, it's a very perhaps useful analysis for all of us. Well, my dear V, I read your email again, and of course, I'm concerned that you're still depressed and sad. However, let's together examine why are you depressed and what brings depression and the reasons for that in this particular case. And considering that I don't know everything about your life, I just know as much as you have told me without having asked any questions, just what it was offered to me. So I hope that it can help you out, but that's why this whole thing is very general, but it is very, very important in considering to solve this sort of problems. So please pay attention and see if that could make you ponder and kind of open up some new, open the sky for you. Get the clouds away a little bit. So you say you're still sad and depressed. Of course you are. This is normal to be sad and depressed. You're not a robot to feel that just because you have now faced with the fact that she has left you and things are not the same as before, because I see that is one of your concerns, that you're sad that things are not the same as before or won't be the same as before. Well, let's talk about this. First point that I want to make is that we boys, all of us, if there are boys here, and if you're a girl and you're watching this, well, you can reverse it and still would work for the same for you as well. We tend to, when we find a girlfriend or a girl, we tend to, as it is so important for us boys to have a mate or to be with a girl, because we've learned, as we spoke we've talked about in other productions, that it seems to be so important for us to feel worthy only if we have a girlfriend or a wife. And we tend to lose ourselves and our worth in other things that we may be very good and valuable in and for, but we only focus that our worth is only about the fact that we have a girlfriend or a wife, a relationship. But we have to notice that that is one part of what we are all about. And whether it is going well or not, whether we have a girlfriend or wife or not, it still doesn't have anything, it's not going to take anything away from your real worth, as long as you make that worth to be built from your inside, your confidence, by educating yourself, doing positive things, being involved in positive activities, and so on and so forth, and feel strong from inside, not just physically, but from inside. And then you will see the confidence that you have is not dependent on this or that or the other. So it wouldn't be just, okay, my wife has left me or my girlfriend's left me, therefore all of my values and worth is gone, because you should be a lot more than just one module of your worth in life. And by the way, a relationship really doesn't have anything to do about your worth. It's just the art of relationship. You're in a relationship because it makes you fulfilled and satisfies your emotional needs, and it also satisfies the emotional needs of the other side, and that's basically it. It's not about worth. Now, but what happens is when we do meet someone, we boys tend to turn that woman into a goddess. Somehow she becomes so amazing and wonderful in our heads, because we think that she's now our honor and our woman, and I'm a man because I have a woman. Like if you're not a woman, What, your thing will fall off or what? What happens? You're still a male, so that part doesn't change. So to become a man or be a man has nothing to do with if you have a girlfriend or you don't have a girlfriend, you have a wife or you don't have a wife. Being a man is different than being a male. If you want to, be sure if you're a male, just look down. That's all. But if you want to be sure that you're a man, then you have to be able to adapt to changes that life will bring you. You need to understand to be a man is to educate yourself and be around positive environments and do positive things and be hopeful toward future and make sure that your mind understands that there's nothing wrong with you and all you need is just be involved in positive activities and build yourself from inside, whether it's a work that you will like or whether it's education that you like. Bring values to yourself, meaningful values, to bring that inside you. And then how do you associate yourself with the problems and with the paths that are in front of you in life, and how you deal with the challenges come about your life, how you see it through of these challenges. That's how you become a man. And there's no shortage of challenges, so you can be sure that you are as man as you can be, because the challenges will constantly come to you through this life and there'll be no shortage of it, so you'll always have an opportunity to become more man than the day before. If there was no difficulty or hardship in your life, like in your case about your wife, how would you really prove to yourself or be sure that you're so strong and man, able to handle life? Everybody can be born and everybody can have a gender. Either you're a woman or you're a man. You're born with it. I mean, either you're a female or you're a male. That's what I mean. You're born with it. But to be a man or a woman, that has to do with how you negotiate this ocean of life while you're in your boat and trying to negotiate this path toward taking this distance of life, this journey of life through this ocean of life. Now, it is just like anybody can have a little boat, but the way you sit in it and you row through the different weather and different waves and different stormy weather and different conditions of this sea, that's what makes you a real captain. Yeah? Not just by having a boat. Anybody can have a boat. So anybody can be born and have it, whether you're a woman or you're a man, but you will have one of something, yeah? One of those. It's like anybody can go buy a boat, but can you row? Or can you only row in smooth, shallow pond? No wind, no nothing. And even wind will help your boat by itself coast. Is that really gonna make you a real good captain? Calm seas will never make an experienced captain. Ever. So while I'm not trying to be funny about this, but there is a point here that sometimes in life, some of these difficulties, as hard and difficult as they may actually seem, but they are there to actually bring the best in you. If you can see the opportunity, and if you can't just focus, if you don't just focus on the pain of it, the sadness of it, the loss of it, and focus on how can I negotiate this? How can I deal with this? How can I now go forward? How can I now change this situation to a better for myself? That's when you really realize what was the good thing out of this bad thing that happened to you. So, it's always good to be normal about our relationship and our lady friend, or if you're a woman, your male friend, not to make him a god. Because once you do that, then when you lose them, or for one way or another, they leave you, you leave them, or whatever happens, you feel guilty. You feel you've lost your whole thing because you've made such a big statue of greatness and grandeur that you just feel like, oh, I lost my God. But you made it up in your own head. She was only who she was. There was nothing more than what she was. It's not like she was the only soul that you could have made something, the only person in the world. Why? Let's talk about this. Let's say you miss her, you're sad because you miss her, and what is it that you're missing? The physical shape? Obviously not, because the physical shape, no matter how beautiful one is, when they get together, through the ages, through the time, that physical shape really changes. So if the physical shape and physical look was the only motivation, the only reason for you guys to get together, then obviously every 5-10 years you got to change to somebody else, because she's not going to be as pretty or as fit or as whatever as she was the day that you guys met. And if you're a woman, the guy is not going to be as fit, as the whatever spiffy as when you guys met. So what was it then? Well, then it was obviously how you guys interacted, yeah? The energy between you, yeah? Or was it the energy? Maybe. We'll come to that. And it was the things that you guys did, right? The memories that you guys created, yeah? And the way she was. We're talking from boy's point of view. So the way she was, okay? The way she did things, the way she thought, and the way she, expressed herself, right? Okay. So it was you and her decent look, her some look, and or whatever, and then the way she was. We call it a bundle of the way she was, like how she thought, how she did things, how she, mentality, habits, whatever. Okay? Do you think if that her way, not her looks, because that really is non-issue, because it can change. Good looking changes, maybe still stays the same or changes, doesn't matter. But the look is not what bonds or bonded you guys or a relationship together, right? You all agree? I think so. So, don't you think if that way that she was, mentality, talking, or way of doing things, or interactions, the way she handled herself, whatever, if that wasn't the way that it was a different way. Yeah? It was a different way. Would you have still missed her after this many years being together? The answer, I think, is yes, of course. Why? Because you were together. No matter what her way was, her manners, her mentality, her thinking, and way of dealing with things were, you got used to that, and that was what bonded you guys together. So you got used to that. So eventually, after a few years, that became okay with you. Whether it was okay from the beginning or not, or whatever, you got used to it, right? So far, so okay? So doesn't that mean that if this person that we believe their way is what bonds it, not their look necessarily, so could we say that if this wife of yours, ex-wife of yours, was not her, was somebody else, because somebody else would have a different way, and we just said that if she didn't have her way the way she was, and she had a different way of manner or way of doing things, would you still miss her? And you said yes. I mean, we said yes. So that could mean that if it wasn't her at all, her physical, or herself, her ways, and it was somebody else, different look, decent look, just, kind of similar, or at least, nothing amazing or ways or weird or whatever. So if it was somebody else with a different ways, which everybody has different ways, would you not also feel the same way if you had missed this one? Of course you would, because you would have gotten used to her, and then memories and different things to do, and then you would, if she would leave you, you would miss what bonded you guys, which was your interactions and her ways and her way of being and thinking and mentality and so on. So then, why can't you then have another person and see if that could kind of make you feel good. And you say, hey, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. Well, I understand that, and let's see why it wouldn't. It wouldn't because the difference between you and your ex-wife and you and somebody else now, it's really only one thing. Because in both cases, you are here, and in this, with your ex-wife, the way it was, and in this case, with another woman, you are here, so both yous are the same. Nothing changed here. And there is a woman here, your ex-wife, and there's a woman here in the picture, and that meets the requirements, because we said, as long as the look is decent, like within your taste, and we said if your wife had a different manners and way of doing things, you would still miss her. So let's say this woman with different way of doing things from her could also means same as if your wife had a different way of doing things. So now this woman has a different way of doing. So again, she has her character and her personality, and you are here, and in here you were here and she was here. So both conditions pretty much same in creating a relationship. So why is it that you don't feel that this is going to replace this? Why? Because there was another element here. Element of memory and interactions, which represents what? Time. So you had a person, a woman, which you interacted, no matter how her behavior and mentality and ways were. See, that's not an issue as long as it was normal. But you had time with her. This one, you have a decent looking woman again, and her mentality could be whatever as long as it's normal, you just said. But you don't have the time with it. You haven't spent time with her. And that's why you don't think anybody else can do and bring happiness to you or same kind of a good feeling as you had with your ex-wife, because you haven't let the element of time work on these ingredients. It's like you have a cooked dish and then you say, well, I have the same ingredients here, but it doesn't taste the same. Well, because you haven't given time on the fire yet. You haven't put it on the stove and give it time. See, time makes things kind of bond in the way of cooking. On the stove and time makes it bond. This woman and you bonded through time and the heat of life and exchange of life and events. But you haven't had the chance with another one in time. Just physically, maybe you get to know someone, but unless you give them the time, you can't create that memory and so on and so forth to then feel a little bit good. And then little by little, you kind of feel really balanced, because you will not be so stuck on this here, because here is special. Why? Because it had the element of time in it. Now, if you give a decent woman with normal behavior also time to interact together, you will also again feel good, I assure you. But as long as you take that risk, as long as you take that step, you can't be sitting here constantly saying, well, I miss her. Of course you miss her. What's there to replace her? You haven't even brought anything. So you don't want to do it at least right away with another woman, which of course I don't recommend this either. But when it is time and you're ready, you should understand that the time plus you plus another woman could help out. Because right now, it was you and her and time. But when you're ready, you and somebody else will still not do it unless there is enough time. So you got to be patient with that. In the meantime, what you need to do, really be positive. Really be active in a little bit of exercise, a little bit of a reading, a little bit of understanding that what this life is all about, finding a job for yourself, making something that makes you feel good about yourself, proud of yourself, and little by little, your subconscious will change toward a positive way of thinking about yourself and your values. Right now, you don't think much of yourself because you think, oh, I've lost, I'm a loser. That's got nothing to do. You've got to get that out of your head. And whatever you're missing right now with her has no reality. It's only a memory. It's like it's a recording of a DVD or a recording of a soundtrack and has no reality. So what you're really missing with her, what you're feeling, sadness, is not like you're missing the reality of her. You're missing your memories, the things that you used to do, which doesn't exist anymore. It's just a memory. You're missing a memory. You understand? So, please, focus on doing little things every day, positive things every day. Get involved with good, positive people. Maybe play some chess. Maybe read some book. Maybe watch a good educational movie. Maybe go to you said your group will start, you'll have a chance with a group or people in September. Well, listen, it's not that far anyhow. But even if you go with a group but you don't change your mentality, that things will change always. This whole universe is based on change. Nothing stays the same. So you can be sure of that. You can be sure that things will change, even if you can't see it, but they will change. It's not up to you. Everything will change. And in these cases, always changes to better. Because when the time passes, you'll start replacing with new things, and you start having experiences of other things. And that will remedy a little bit your situation until you feel more balanced and more positive about yourself and so on and so forth. So, the short of the long is, don't lose hope, dude. Please don't, because everything will change. It's not in your position, in your power not to let things change. Things will change whether you want it or not. And you're doing the right things, I hope. You're getting into a little exercise. You're taking care of yourself, eating right. If you're smoking, don't smoke. And don't smoke anything else either. And if you're eating lots of junk, sugar stuff, don't eat healthy. It all helps your metabolism and helps you calm down and your mind start thinking better with more hopes. And you feel more valuable, worthwhile, because you feel like you're doing something good for yourself. As long as you feel you're doing something good, it'll make you feel good and happy. And that's what we're looking for. And mingle with good friends, good places, positive places, happy places, strong places. Pretty much pick up a hobby, something that you can positively spend your time. Don't sit at home, just sulk. Because you're sulking about memory, about something that doesn't exist. What you do is you got to create new action to create new exercise, new experiences for yourself. And that new experiences creates more of a knowledge and memory for you of new things. And that will make you feel good about yourself, because now there are new stuff in your life. If you don't create new stuff in such situations, you'll always be thinking about the memory of the old stuff, that doesn't exist anymore. Neither the memory is real, nor what you're hoping it to be is real. None of them. Only that moment right now is real. And that right now must be spent on good, positive actions to leave a good experience and feeling and knowledge and new good memories in you to make you feel uplifted and better again. Believe me, you'll be fine. Just do these little things that I ask you to do. And if you have a little bit of a, like deep kind of a depression or something, it's always good to check with doctor just to make sure that it's all just sorrow and sadness, nothing more. And then you'll be fine, good as new. Give it time. Be nice to your ex-wife and don't, just constantly, try to call and whatnot. Remember we talked about this. And go get a job for yourself, do little positive things and make yourself feel good, and they will also feel the good energy that you have to carry, and it'll be at least a cordial, normal relationship. Whatever happens in the future, who knows? Whether, you find somebody new, or your life will feel better without anybody new. You just have a good relationship with them anyhow, okay? Please take good care of yourself, and you are as important as you always were. You just have to remind yourself of it and do things that makes you really feel as good a person as you are. Talk to you soon, guys, and hope things would be much better. And unless you make efforts, things will not change. So go ahead and go make the change happen. Have a nice evening or day, and talk to you soon.